Today's video, I'm gonna go over how I made my Sucky YouTube channel into a monetized YouTube channel, and how you can too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna speed run basically through all of the tips that I've learned, and I'm also gonna put this up on my YouTube channel as well as a list of all the tips, so that you can see all this information. And I'm gonna give you all the tips I've learned, but then I'm gonna specifically focus on the tips that helped me the most and are the ones that I didn't hear other places. So I'm just gonna go through this list. I have about 20 different items here. I'll put this in a pinned comment as well as also in the video description so that you can look through them at your own speed. And a lot of these things people have said before, but there are a few things in here that people haven't said before, and I'm going to walk you through everything. And this video is kind of just going to be something that I wish I would have had when I first started, because if I would have known this, it would have saved me hours. So the first thing is the hook. You want to start with something where everybody who watches the video, they know what the video is about and they know what to expect, and they want to watch till the end. Another part of that is getting a nice, easy to read thumbnail. One thing that I was really nervous when I first started is that people were going to make fun of me or not like my content, or my friends were going to look at it and say, hey, that's not really good. So I was nervous. When I first started just over a year ago, I really didn't want to share anything, and I just wanted to show the product and not be myself at all. And don't worry about it, nobody cares. Even getting your parents to watch your YouTube channel or close friends, most people don't really care and they're not really interested in it. So put yourself out there, and don't be nervous, because the worst thing that can happen is a video doesn't do good, and that is going to happen, but you're also going to have the opportunity to make some really great videos and learn a lot and do some really exciting stuff. So just put all that in the background. So the next thing is huge. So this one was the biggest thing that helped me the most, and it's lighting. So what I did was I purchased let me see, I have it right here, a Godox light, and I think this is one of the biggest investments I've had on my channel. And I will put a link to it in the description below. Let me see which one I actually have. Hold on just one sec. It's P260C. 260C. Here it is. And so yeah, it was about $100. But this has improved my live streams so much. I think a lot of people complain that, hey, nobody's watching my live stream. And even if your live stream isn't good, which mine is just a 3D printer printing an object, so that's not the most exciting stuff, but I make sure that it's really high quality, a decent quality light, and that really makes a huge difference, because I think the YouTube algorithm actually really cares about how well lit your video is, because it's not going to show really dark videos. So for your thumbnail and your lighting, really important. It could be natural light, it could be multiple little lamps or whatever you get set up, but make sure that video is really well lit. That's a very, very big thing. So on to the next thing, searchable evergreen content. People will tell you this, and let's look at my channel. I can go through some specifics about videos where this actually worked. So these are all my first start videos, and none of them really, I wasn't really focusing on what content I would make or what people would like, but this is probably the first video that actually kind of takes advantage of that evergreen content, and it continues to grow to this day. So let's look at the analytics for it. 8,000 views. As you can tell, when I first made it, it wasn't, the views were just kind of starting slowly. But this is Galaxy Buds 3 Pro ear tips. So people are buying those earbuds and they're, struggling to figure out how to put those ear tips on and off. And as you can tell, it just keeps going up and up and up. And I've made almost $7 off of it, and I think that's kind of one of those evergreen content ideas. So very important to think about like what people will continue to search, because I do have other videos where it'll just get like a really quick bump of views and then it'll die. So I love that evergreen content. I try to think about creating that moving forward. Also, you want to make sure that when you do create that content, that when you are in here and you're putting information in, and I guess this isn't that great of an example, but you want to put as much info in the description as you can with hashtags, and you want to also put down here in your tags as many tags as you can that you think people would search for, and you can use Gemini to help you with this process as well. So that's the next thing, clickable thumbnails. There's tons of great videos about how to do this, but you could use Canva, and you can easily make this. There is a free version of this, so highly recommend making thumbnails. They don't have to be super detailed. I can actually even give you an example. This one, I made it on my phone, and just through the photo editor. So well lit, easy, simple, clean thumbnails will really help. The next thing, it kind of ties in with that, is making use of free tools. So an example would be Google Gemini. So you can, use this to bounce ideas off of Gemini. You can use it to even make a website about your video that you can direct people to, which I did for this video. You can ask it to give you some exciting titles. You can ask it to help you create a description for it. There's so many things, and there is a free version of Gemini as well. So I highly recommend it, especially for those tags, because if you just say like, create me a list of comma separated tags for this video that drives users' engagement. And even if you don't use all of the tags, at least there you have a nice little starting point, and there's probably going to be a lot of tags in there that you hadn't even thought of. You can also go through it and then say there's not enough tags. You can then go through and kind of type up some ones that might be mistyping, and that will be really helpful too. So let's go on to the next thing. So the next thing is to structure your videos for retention. So you are going to have lulls in your video, and right now I am kind of just rambling, but when you do make those videos that you really want to get views on, you're going to want to have like a really nice intro, as well as points that you want to hit throughout the video, and I think that will really help people stay engaged. And you can actually then, after your videos, go in, and this relates to step number 10, and look at all of your video analytics, and you can see where people are viewing it, and when people are dropping off, how it compares to your other videos. So that's a really nice way to kind of get better at making videos. I do that a lot. Like, I go through all my past videos, I see which ones did better, and I try to kind of gear my content to what works and what people are interested in, because if you aren't paying attention to what's doing well, then you won't know to focus on that. Okay, so let's go on to the next one, smart calls to action. This one's really important. You don't want to just say like and subscribe. You want to say something like, hey, in my next video I'm going to be giving some additional tips, or in my next video I'm going to talk more about this project that I'm working on. One of the things that's really been helpful for me recently is I've had a Clear Pet G project, and I've noticed a lot of people are really interested in it. So just having that call to action in my video, like, hey, this is just a mid update, I'm going to be doing this with it. If you want to go to my printables page, you can get more information about it. What experience have you had with Pet G in the past? Please leave it down below, or let me know if you have any questions. that has been extremely helpful in the growth of my YouTube channel. And that actually goes into one of the other topics that I'll talk about in a second. But if you are having an issue with getting those watch hours, because that can be kind of difficult when you are starting out, you know, just for an example, when my first videos, they would get, let's go to the beginning, they would get, you know, 5 views, 10 views, 20 views, and that's definitely not going to drive your watch hours. So you could do a couple things. You could just make tons and tons of videos. I wouldn't recommend that, because then the YouTube algorithm will start recognizing that people aren't watching those videos, and you'll get even less views. Another thing, though, that you can do is you can go live. So these are all my live streams for my 3D prints. And as you can tell, they're like 5 hours, 1 hour, 7 hours, 3 hours. And I don't have tons and tons of people watching. Every once in a while, I have one that does really well. But just doing that was able to build up my watch hours. So let's see here. I'll kind of go to one that's like a little more towards the beginning of my channel. So this is my first live, and it got 2,800 views, which was really excellent. It kind of dropped off after there, but I kept at it. And like this hex scraper, it got 1,800 views. I think this is kind of a good example. Just a really easy print that I did. And let's look at the analytics. So you can see here, 254 views, 209 watch hours. Let's look at another one. Here is a cat bat with tree supports, live print, 1,500 views, and it only got me 1 watch hour. So you could slowly get more and more views through your live prints, or whatever you're going live for. So, you know, say you like talking about cars, you can do a live view of cars. And one of the reasons this doesn't actually display the data very well is because once you go live and then you publish the video, it's going to give you your watch time based on how much people watched it afterwards. And so if you do go live, another tip is if after, you know, a couple days you're not seeing those watch hours hit, what you can do is you can actually go in, edit the video, and make it not public, and then make it private, and then make it public again. So make it private, save it, and make it public again. There's some weird glitch in YouTube where it doesn't record them correctly sometimes, and that can actually help, like, I guess, get the system to recognize those watch hours, and it will help you drive your watch hours to get it up to that 4,000 mark. Highly recommend it. A lot of people don't mention it, but your live hours do count towards your 4,000 watch hours. Okay, so let's look a little bit more into this. Use YouTube Shorts to drive traffic. This one's also really important. You can, when you go live, when you make a short, we'll look at my most recent one. So I just got a new espresso grinder, and let's fix that. And in order to drive views to my video, I can go in here and I can put the related video, and I can choose my most recent unboxing. And this will help because a few of those people who watched the short will then click on this and go to my video. You could also make other shorts that relate to this short, so you could kind of have like a cascading effect where you know, people are clicking on videos and then clicking on other videos, and you can also do that with the end cards of certain videos, so it can really help drive traffic and get people to watch the videos more and more often. And some people will tell you, like, you want to focus on just one or the other, and I disagree with that. I think you should make shorts, and I think you should make long form. But if you just make shorts, it's very difficult to get monetized just from shorts. I have 2 different channels, and I've had a couple shorts not go viral but do pretty well, like in the 4,000. I think I have one that's 17,000 somewhere in here. But to get a short to do extremely well, you're gonna need to have really, really good engagement. So let's just look at this one. This is done like okay for me. This is my Clear Glass Pet G short, and if we look at the engagement over here, my audience retention is at 65.8%, so that's how many people stayed to watch the video. And to get something to go viral, it needs to be about like 80% or above, and that's very rare, very hard to do. So I do recommend, if you are looking to get monetized, do shorts, but focus on your long form, focus on those live streams to get those watch hours, unless you're really, really great or have some really exciting content. That is going to be an easier way to get monetized. Okay, so let's go down to the next one. So being transparent about your journey, this is super important. People want to relate to you, and if all you're sharing is, oh my God, I'm so good at this, this is amazing, nothing ever goes wrong, it's hard for people to relate to that because we all fail sometimes. And I can kind of give some examples on my live streams. Some of the ones that have done best were actually the fails. So I was trying to print this Mario star for a Christmas tree topper, and it kept falling over. And I mean, part of it was I wasn't setting up the supports right. But that series, I just kept trying and was honest about the fails. And as you can tell here, I got, quite a bit of views. Actually, more views on the fail than I did on the successful print. So don't be afraid to share those failures. As you can tell, it doesn't really show the live stream views and watch time, but I did get quite a bit from that. And it's really important to be honest. I try to share with my audience, what I've earned so far. Anytime I have a brand relationship, anytime I've gotten something free. So yeah, those are all important things. Being honest with your audience, I think people really can appreciate that. So let's go on to the next one. Value videos. So this is really important. People want to get something from your YouTube channel. They want entertainment. They want to learn something. So whatever your niche is, you have, I'm sure there's a way where you can provide some value. Like, I'll just give my my fellow YouTuber Cloggity a shout out. Cloggity makes dance videos, and for example, one of the things she could do is, a dance tutorial, show her audience how to do a specific dance. Super helpful. For me, a lot of the ones that have done really well are my how-to videos, or finding fixes to things like this Orca slicer, how to split it into multiple parts. This one is really good. I think I've gained quite a bit of subscribers to it. This is to be able to put in Orca slicer, you need to connect it to Octoprint, and it's kind of a confusing process. So I walked people through how to do that, and people really appreciated it. It drove a lot of comments. Let's see here. I also respond to all of the comments, as you can tell, but having people appreciate you and value it, that also helps your videos do well. So that also leads to creating and joining a community. YouTube, you need people to be interested in what you're doing, want to watch you, and you can create a Discord for your channel. That's a great way to connect further with your audience. You can also join other Discords. So like, for example, here I am, partnered YouTube. I've learned a lot from different members of this organization. And there isn't until you're monetized, you can't join this, but there are other communities that you can join. Like there's the Reddit YouTube group. I'm also part of this Gajuina group, and I've learned a lot from this community and from the Orca Slicer community as well. That's helped drive some of my video ideas, and some of the members also, the tutorials that I've provided, I've learned how to do it from this community. So highly recommend it. Having friends who are interested in the same topic. Like I don't have any YouTuber friends, but I've been able to find them through these different communities. So definitely something I recommend doing. Okay, and then like I was talking about, just make sure that you engage with your audience. I see, even some new YouTubers, and they just leave those comments blank and they don't talk with their audience. That's a person there who wants to connect with you. So, if you have the time, definitely respond to them. Give them some additional information. A lot of things I've actually learned from my commenters, like sometimes I've had poor audio, or they said like, hey, you know what, you're talking about this, why are you not showing it on the phone? And that's super helpful. I could get lost in just talking, and I'm not actually showing what I'm talking about. So highly recommend engaging with your audience. They're going to be interested. They're going to want to subscribe. It's going to help you. Definitely don't ignore your audience. One of the things where if you do, you can come into your community tab, and as you can tell, every single comment I respond to. And you can come in here, and anytime there's a comment, it'll pop up here. You can reply in here. I have noticed that like replies to replies don't really show up here. So every once in a while, if I'm talking to somebody through the comments, I'll go back and look at that actual video just to see if there's any follow-up needed, because there's been a lot of times where like there will be a response, but then I won't get back to them. So just paying attention to your videos and paying attention to your commenters, very important. And the next thing is something that even people who are, monetized, popular YouTubers, they say maybe not to do this, but I think this is very important. So bringing in brands and creators you love. You want to be talking about things that you enjoy. You don't want to be shilling for any company out there that gives you a couple $100. You want to be able to reach out to companies that you like, talk to them, start a relationship with them. Even if you have 200 subscribers, you can reach out to a company. I'll give an example, like EBOS. They've provided me a filament dryer. I think I was right at the verge, or I just got monetized. I reached out to them. I said, hey, I'm working on this ClearPet G project, and I want to see if having dry filament is going to be helpful, because one of my channel members, or one of my subscribers, said, hey, it's going to help if you dry it. EBOS was nice enough. They said, hey, we're happy to donate to your project. I have a nice Cyclops filament dryer sitting right in front of me, and that would have never happened if I didn't reach out to them. So I put like a little template here. All you have to do is send an email. The worst that can happen is they say no, or they don't say anything. I have also reached out to Polymaker, and they're sending me some free filament as well. So those creators, those brands you love. Another example is Gajuino. I started chatting with ZeroBit. He's the creator of the Gajuino project, and he's offered to help me with any questions I've had and give me advice about the setup procedure. So there's definitely people out there who are willing to help you and work with you. And sometimes you just have to make that first step. and don't, try not to be too nervous about it. And I would say don't take people's advice if they tell you, wait for brands to come to you. I don't think I don't think you should do that. I think you should be, out there building a community, joining communities, talking to people. You never know how much somebody will help you if you don't ask. So the next thing is focusing on a specific niche, and I've been kind of bad about this. So if you look through my content, although it is all tech-based content, I'm kind of all over the place. Like, I'm making different websites, I'm making apps, I'm putting up AI slop, I'm doing model tutorials. And I did realize for a while, when I was focusing just on 3D printing, or more so on just like Samsung devices in general, I was kind of growing faster. So if you are focused on growth, I'd recommend kind of keeping that niche really tight. Another thing is with a niche, so like with these Samsung videos, let me see if I can give an example. I'll give an example with smart tags. So I think what's happening right now is Samsung is focusing on paying a lot for any videos that deal with Samsung phones. I think it's because they have a lot of new devices coming out. So as you can see here, estimated revenue $9. This is one of the most money I'm getting on any of my videos. And I think what's going on is they're paying a lot for it. So if I would have, focused specifically on Samsung devices, I could have a higher CPM. I could also people would know, like, that's my channel and that's where to go to get this Samsung news. So I recommend, if you are, interested in just growth or maximizing your CPM, the way to go would be to really drive down in your specific niche. So if you can see here, $13.06 for this video, and let's just compare it to another video that has a decent amount of views. So let's see here, we'll go with this one, and so 527, and let's see what the CPM here is. So 787. So lower CPM. Like I said, that if that's a factor going into your thoughts, maybe focus on a niche that pays higher. I think specifically tech, finance. I think maybe realty. But yeah, you can do some checking on that if that is something that matters to you. And then the next thing is your video titles and descriptions. I'm still working on this, but I definitely can tell I've gone in and I've changed some low-performing titles to kind of ones that are a little more exciting and grab people's interest, and it's definitely helped with that. So one thing there is, depending on your audience, you might want to make sure that your title is kind of not hard to read. It's kind of has maybe even throw it in Gemini and just say, hey, give me some title ideas. Try to make this title at a 5th grade reading level. And the nice thing about doing that with Gemini is you can say, like, give me 10 titles for my upcoming 3D print video on Benchy in a bottle, focusing on making it popular, and please keep them under a 10th grade reading level. And I think that's kind of important, especially depending on your audience, because if there's somebody who's like 9.5 but they're interested in tech, they're not going to click on a video that says, like, optimizing the initial flow rate for the transparent filament designed for navigating the print bed, you know. So using Gemini is really great. You can also even bounce ideas off of it and be like, which 3 do you think would be the most popular and why? And yeah, so these are free tools out there, and it can be like extremely helpful to use them. Okay, so let's go on to the next final. Oh, actually, I think there's a bonus one in here. Second final tip: use your time effectively. So one of the things that I was doing with my other channel, I spent hours editing a video, and but it was on a topic. It was on a seabird. So let me see if we can actually go to it. Snoring vids seabird. And I edited it. It was my first time editing, and it didn't do well. Oh, that's just the short. And I realized I could focus my time on my tech channel and just make short videos that don't require a lot of effort, and that has done a lot better. So I think, you know, don't be afraid to just try out a video. You know, try out a 1 minute video and just really talk really quickly, or, you know, go through a product review, and you can kind of test these things. You don't have to make every video perfect. You can kind of like use it as a way to explore to see if something's gonna do well. An example would be like these smart tags. I didn't even think people were interested in them. Or the ClearPet G. People are really interested in that, and I had no idea. And you can tell, like, this video for this microphone that I'm using didn't do well. But if I had spent hours or weeks working on this video, I wouldn't know that people were interested in those other topics. So, you know, while you're learning and growing, now is the perfect time to try making a bunch of really quick videos, figure out what you like creating and what your audience likes. And so the bonus one, I'm gonna roll the end screen on this one, but this is gonna be to make sure to use those cards effectively. So like while I was talking about the ClearPet G, I'm gonna put a card up here at the top of the screen that links to that video. For your end screens, you can also put like a playlist right here, a subscribe right here, and for example, I'm gonna put in the playlist. I'll put other how-to videos, and one of the videos I'll put here is my the other video I did about how to grow your YouTube channel. So make sure to make use of those, because like I said, you can kind of get like a cascading flow of people watching your content, binging your content, watching different playlists. And hopefully I hope all of this was really helpful for you. This was a couple people have asked me specifically how to do these things. And so I'm going to title this how to make my strike through Sucky channel good. And now I think Sucky isn't a bad thing. I think it just means you should start successfully uploading consistently and knowing it's yielding. So keep grinding, keep doing that work. What I will do is I did change my YouTube channel, or my Rando Tech Nerd channel, to have these strategies kind of just laid out really simply, so that if you want, while you watch this video or afterwards, you can just come here and quickly see this information. I used Gemini to do it. I'm also going to put every single one of those tips with all my notes in the comments, also in the description. And so if you have any questions about any of this, another tip that you think would be good, please leave it down in the comments below. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Rando Tech Nerd. If you would like or subscribe if this helped you, and I really appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys, I'll see you nerds on the other side. Rando Tech Nerd out.